So here is a great example of a Dutch painting interior painting, and also a good example of Vermeer. This is titled Allegory of the Art of Painting. Allegory of Painting? Miss Cortez, we already know about that. Do you remember? Remember Artemisia, her self-portrait as the allegory of painting, right? So we know an allegory is an abstract concept in a visual manifestation. Here, the allegory of painting is a man in the act of painting. Okay, cool. Let's walk around a little bit. So we see this figure that, you know what? We don't know if this is Vermeer, only because we don't have any self-portraits. But let's just assume it's Vermeer. And here we have an interior space that's lit by a window in the corner. And we have some chairs. We have this massive textile curtain that is being pulled back to reveal the scene. We have a beautiful metalwork chandelier hanging in the center of the room. And on this table, we have some paper, looks like a plaster cast of a sculpture, and this big book. This young woman is holding the book and a trumpet, and a map. Interesting. So, what's the point? Okay. Allegories are physical manifestations of abstract ideas. Here, we see the artist in the act of painting a figure. So, allegory of painting. Okay. But why all this other stuff? Okay, let's walk around the room a little bit. Here's our detail of the artist. And he's painting. This stick he's holding here, it's called a maul stick, M-A-L stick. And it's a stick that stabilizes your wrist over the canvas without touching the painted canvas. So we see he's using a maul stick and he's painting. But if we look a little bit closer, where's my detail? Oh, here. He's actually painting on top of a drawing. You see those chalk outlines there? So he has this underdrawing and he's starting to paint on top of it. Here. He's also painted that big massive curtain, which I guess technically is a textile. It's a beautiful textile. And then that map, yes, it's paint, but he's depicted here is a printed work of art, which we know to be graphic arts. Here, I love this map because it has the Netherlands, and then look at on the sides here, it has these small prints of major cities in the country. So it's like having a big map of the United States of America and then like little cityscape of like, San Francisco, Seattle, LA, I don't know, Phoenix, Las Vegas, Albuquerque, Denver. I'm just trying to think of the West Coast, and then we work to like the East Coast. We have like New York and Boston and, all the way down. Okay, cool. Cool. We're comfortable with that. The chandelier, metalwork. It's made out of metal. The sculpture on the table. And then what about this young woman? Why is she holding a book and a trumpet? I mean, that's like, seems so random, right? Well, I'm looking for my detail here. If we were to open up that helpful guide by Cesare Ripa, the iconography book, right? In that iconography book, he was talking about personifications. The personification for history, the abstract idea of history, the personification of the person manifesting history, according to iconography, is a young woman holding a book and a trumpet, because history is written and trumpeted. through the ages. Okay. So he's not really painting a girl with a trumpet and a book. He's painting history. He's painting history. If we pull back and we think about all the things included in this painting, then what he's saying here is that a painter paints history. A painter can make textiles. A painter can make sculpture. A painter can draw. Ooh, I got a beach ball. That's scary. A painter can draw. A painter can... It's gone. Good. A painter can make metalwork. A painter can print. A painter can do anything that any other craftsman can do. Basically, he is showing off. Oh, he's flossing. He's like, what's up? Painters, better than metalwork. You want metalwork? I can paint you metalwork. You want some textiles? I make textiles. You want some sculpture? I can make you some sculpture. You want some graphic art? I got you graphic art. You want a drawing? I got you a drawing. Painters do it all. So the allegory of painting here is that painters can paint anything and everything, including history. Okay. Cool. Now, if we look at this in comparison to what we saw in the Cavalier, mind my dizzying scrolling, please. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. A corner of a room with a window. We, art historians, believe that this is his studio. And this setup of the window in the corner and a lot of these textiles and pieces of furniture, they pop up in a lot of his paintings. So we think this was his studio and these were his props. So we can imagine this to be the artist's studio with all these various art props around, and he is in the middle of painting in his studio. Another reason why Vermeer is so popular today is because of his use of perspective. Now, I mentioned it very briefly when we were looking at the Cavalier and the young woman, but the perspective lines of the chairs and the flooring and the table, all of these elements, at first glance you're like, yeah, cool, whatever. But art historians, we never say, yeah, cool, whatever. We always have to look further, deeper. What we understand him to have been using is a tool called a camera obscura. Now, he didn't invent this tool, and plenty of artists before and after him used it, but we find in his work a remarkable connection between the camera obscura and his final pieces. So what's a camera obscura, Miss Cortez? It's a pre-camera, before the camera. It's a tiny pinhole that lets in light. The light refracts and basically projects the exterior image. Here is a artist tool diagram of a camera obscura. Sorry, did I say camera picta? Did I say camera picta? If I did, I'm so sorry. Camera picta is a artwork we didn't talk about in this class. Camera obscura. Camera means room. Obscura means dark. Camera picta means painted room. I'm sorry if I said that. Camera obscura, camera obscura, camera obscura. So what we're looking at here is a camera obscura. So camera means room, and here we have this little box or room, and it's dark inside. There is a small opening, aperture here, and the light comes in and refracts, and then we see here this pane of glass where an artist is basically tracing the refracted light or reflected light. Refracted, yeah, that's a mirror there, so it's refracted. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place. I just had dinner and I just put the toddler away, so I'm crazy right now. So we have the light being used as an artist tool. Don't think this is cheating. It's not cheating. Artists are using this all the time. They didn't see it as cheating. it's as much cheating as using your paintbrush. So the camera obscura is what we can easily connect to the perspective in Jan Vermeer's pieces. The way that the objects bend at certain angles or uh, recede at certain angles are remarkably close to the use of a camera obscura. If you're interested in camera obscuras, then you should take a history of photo class because it was the pre-camera. If you want to play around inside of a camera obscura, we got one pretty close. Just behind the Cliff House in San Francisco. If you've been to San Francisco on the Pacific Coast side, there's this big fancy restaurant called the Cliff House. You can go down and around it for free, and you'll come across this right on the edge of the ocean. And it's a giant camera obscura. The whole room is the dark box, and there's an aperture which lets in light and then reflects the ocean. Now it's open until 5 p.m. when it's open, obviously pre-COVID days, but open at 5 p.m. and don't go there at 4:30 because sometimes it'll already be closed. I learned that the hard way. But back to Vermeer. That is what we're seeing used here, is his tool of a camera obscura to help him to create these types of perspective lines and define this space.